presented by Policybazaar.
CNBC TV 18, the Policybazaar Insurance Show.
Imagine saving thousands of rupees every year on your insurance premium, and that without even changing your policy or reducing your coverage. That's the power that a tax component on insurance could bring, specifically this time around, the GST component as far as insurance is concerned. Welcome to the Policybazaar Insurance Show. I'm your host Yash Jain, and in this episode we explore how GST relief can take away a lot of burden away from policyholders across India. And to break this down further, joining me on the show today are Sharad Mathur, Managing Director and CEO at Universal Sompo General Insurance Company, Mahesh Balasubramaniam, MD and CEO, Kotak Life Insurance, Saravir Singh, Joint Group CEO, PB Fintech. So we have a blend of the entire insurance ecosystem, of course, the distributor, life insurance company, as well as the general insurance company, which gives a fair bit of understanding as far as health insurance is concerned. Let's start with you, Sharad. What exactly was the government's announcement as far as GST on health insurance is concerned? Could you break down that for our viewers just to understand the basics and clear out the foundation for it?
The industry has been asking for it since quite some time, and it's a very welcome move. The whole concept revolves around customer affordability. And when government announced GST, we have been hearing that whether benefit would be passed on to customers or not. So in no way insurance industry, whether it is non-life insurance or life insurance or standalone health insurers, ever thought to have it in pricing adjustments. So it is for the customers, for the common man, and this would going to get passed to them. As a result, say if there was a 100 rupee premium, for example, so policy now would be reduced by 18%, say in case of individual health, PA, and accidental and travel insurance. So it would help us in achieving our end objective, which is insurance inclusion, reaching out to the last mile. We have seen that there are various government schemes for underprivileged communities and for affluent population, which are in urban, semi-urban state capitals. We have seen that affordability is not much of an issue and they are able to buy health insurance, so to say. But the middle group, we call them missing middle. I think affordability was one of the elements where we were seeing that there is not enough offtake willingly also. So now we have to work, industry would be collectively working on the reachability element. Affordability seems to be getting addressed with this GST got implemented on 22nd September. So it is a great benefit for the common man and would have insurance inclusion. And I think sooner, why we should await until 2047 as the government and regulatory goals are.
To you, Saravir, there cuts have been announced as far as GST is concerned on various aspects, and you deal with all those products, health insurance, term life insurance, ULIP, as well as endowment and annuity. In your understanding, how would these different categories benefit different kinds of users? What is the adaptability of these different products? Do you think that the benefits would be quite equally distributed amongst all these important products?
I think, yes, first, just to reiterate, I think what has been announced is that all individual life and health policies, there will be no GST, which means that for term and health insurance, there is an 18% reduction in the total outgo from a customer's perspective. In ULIP and endowment products, it's a little different. In ULIPs, the amounts involved are smaller and they are part of the product construct as well. In endowment and non-par policies, there's a 4.5% GST in the first year and 2.25 in the succeeding years. So that will be removed. So I think that is the context in terms of how much a customer will benefit. From our perspective, I think the most important thing is that protection products, right, which from a middle class perspective are the most important. I think for a middle class family, having term insurance, having health insurance are very, very critical. And both these products will enjoy the highest benefit of 18%. So what we expect is that, and in fact, what the early days are showing also is that on the protection side, both term and health insurance, there is a very smart pickup in demand in September towards the end of the month. And this is something which we hope will continue going forward because I think this has been a standing demand of the industry, of consumers as well, that on such basic necessities of life, we should not have GST. So I think it's a really very, very big monumental move that the government has done. And I must tell you that even amongst countries around the world, this is one of a very, very, I would say, forward-looking step where a country has recognized that these basic forms of insurance are essential and should not be charged GST.
Very fair point. This has been a demand from the industry that GST shouldn't be so high as far as the basic necessity like insurance is concerned. But to come to you, Mahesh, we often have this discussion, but more often than not, it remains inconclusive. Uh, was a tax cut or a GST cut in this situation the only trigger as far as making insurance affordable is concerned, or are there more elements to it which will have to be pushed together to make insurance affordable? We speak about the penetration, of course, that is very low as per global average, but do you think only making a lower tax or exempt tax on insurance the single solution to drive affordability and hence penetration?
First of all, as an industry, we laud the Prime Minister, the Finance Minister, and the GST Council for exempting individual life insurance products from GST. I think it's a landmark initiative, and it'll go a long way in increasing penetration in this country. Life insurance penetration is a paltry 2.8% of GDP. But what's more worrying, as Sarabveer pointed out, is a protection gap. Because real insurance is basically the term insurance that people take. The protection gap is as high as 80%, valued at about $16.5 trillion. The retail sum assured as a percentage of GDP, which is reflective of the extent of protection in the country, is less than 25%. Even neighboring countries in Southeast Asia are close to 100%. So obviously there's a long way to go. And there's a very significant step in that direction. But is that the only reason why the penetration was low? Obviously, the answer is no. And that is where the industry has been working towards building what we call now the AAA of insurance: awareness, accessibility, and affordability. This addresses the affordability portion. The accessibility and awareness is being worked on by the industry. If you see, I think across both LI and GI, a slew of campaigns have been going on from the LI Council and the GI Council in the last 1 or 2 months, where we are trying to make the awareness of insurance significantly go up. And accessibility, of course, through increased distribution network, increased online presence, etc. So all channels are being activated for increasing the accessibility as well. But AAA is what is required: awareness, affordability, and accessibility.
Okay. Sharad, to come to you, help us understand a GST exempt from earlier 18% with no input tax credit benefit, no inverted duty structure benefit. How does that impact the industry's revenue, profitability, financials as a whole?
What is coming out very clearly that the impact currently, commercial impact, would hover around 3 to 4%, which I do not think is so substantial as opposed to the upside, which is it would result into increasing penetration on population base that currently we still have about 35% population of on a base of 1.40 billion population, which has some or the other form of health insurance. So I believe if this results into solid uptick in gross revenues, premiums for the insurance companies. So the downside, which is loss of 3 to 4%, which would be charged to the revenue input tax credit, which insurers are not able to claim now, would going to fizzle out soon. So we are not seeing this transactional element as impact on the insurance sector, but the strategic upside, which is increase in revenue and enabling insurance sector to support in increasing the contribution to nation's GDP. We have at an industry level rolled out campaigns, and as individual insurers also we are doing a lot of promotion and creating awareness around. So this thing would going to uphold our initiatives which revolve around transactional as well as strategic as we go and bring the entire nation into social security ambit. Health insurance, life insurance are something in the most developed market. If I talk about health insurance, say Australia, for example, we have 70-80% population having health insurance. Or in not so, or say developing markets like Vietnam, also about 60-70 population has health insurance. So I think those are the things which we have started incorporating in our scenarios, and we are making 3 to 5 year projections and how we will use this, leverage this benefit which government has been kind enough to roll out for the common man, to make sure that now common man finds it easy to have coverage under health insurance.
Mahesh, just to follow up on what you said, given that from September 22nd, insurers won't be receiving any GST. So what happens, to the input tax credit that they were using so far? Will it be borne by the policyholders? If so, what could be the net benefit that policyholders might get as far as the GST changes and everything that it brings together with itself is concerned?
So there are input tax implications, I think, for the life insurance industry, and all of us have been doing our workings. And as an industry, we have understood the impact on the input tax credit, right? But right now, I think we need to look at the bigger picture. I think all of us unilaterally as an industry participants have all passed on the benefit of the prices to our customers, both on the fresh policies and the renewal policies. I think the big picture is we all need to support this initiative of the government in terms of increasing awareness and protection in this country. Along the way, I think some of these issues will be taken up. The industry is in dialogue with all its constituent stakeholders, and I think appropriate solutions will be found over a period of time. But right now, I think the most important thing is to make sure that the communication that now insurance is GST free is something that we need to communicate to the broader spectrum of the society, and the price benefits have all been passed on to all the customers across the board.
Saravid, let me come to you and let me bring you a very specific scenario. Just to understand, suppose a policyholder buys a long-term policy, say a 5-year plan. This, let's say, assuming was bought in May 2025. Now, if GST relief is announced, which becomes effective September 22nd, how will the tax on that particular product be calculated? Will GST apply on a pro rata basis for the period from May to September, or will it be charged on the entire first year upfront? How would the math behind this in a situation of a long-term policy be applicable?
I think the fact of the matter is that it all depends on how you're paying for the policy. If you've already paid an annual premium, then for the first year, you've already paid GST, and that is over and done with. If you are paying with on a monthly or quarterly basis, as your payments come due, at that moment, post September 22nd, no more GST will be charged. So just as an example, supposing you pay every month, so when your installment for October will come due, let's say it's on the 5th of every month, on 5th October, you will not have to pay GST. So it's fairly straightforward. Till September 21st, there was GST. After September 21st, there is no more GST, and all payments will not include any of the GST charge.
Also, and just to understand this thing better, if a policy had to be renewed, let's say before September 22nd, which is before the GST changes became applicable, and the policyholder did not renew it using the grace period for renewal, let's say he postpones the renewal by a month, will they be able to avail the GST relief in that situation?
Yeah, so if policy start date is beyond 22nd September, so then they will going to get the GST benefit. And there are quite a few cases we have seen that people had put their renewal on hold, and we supported them, and they got renewed very recently in the current week, and they got GST benefit. Because it's very simple, any policy being issued, renewal on 22nd September and beyond 22nd September. So they will be eligible for GST benefit.
Okay. Saravi, to you, what happens, to group policies purchased by, let's say, a particular corporate for its employees? Will the GST benefit automatically flow through into those individual members also? Or does that remain out of the ambit as far as the GST exempt category is concerned?
Yeah, yes. So the rule is very, very clear. It is only for individual policies bought by individuals where this rule applies. For group policies, whether there are various kinds of group policies, including the health example that you gave. In that case, the GST will continue as it is at 18%. So I think that there should be absolute clarity on this. It's for individual life and health policies. Group policies continue as they were earlier.
Mahesh, to come to you, do you see insurers using GST reduction as an important opportunity to rather innovate with low ticket mass market products, or will the savings simply make the existing insurance policies cheaper? Which way do you see insurers going largely?
Well, I see dual impact, Ayash. First and foremost, India is both an uninsured country and an underinsured country, right? The way I see it is that an 18% reduction can translate in two ways. It can bring in new people who are hitherto not insured to the fold of insurance because they'll find it cheaper. The existing customers can upgrade their cover now because India is also a large underinsured country, right? So both the phenomenon, I see that certainly playing out. But having said that, I think the mass market innovations continue. I think even before the GST era, I think many of us experimented with mass market innovations, sachet-sized products, etc. There, I think the environment needs to be a little bit strengthened in terms of the data flowing through. I think the biggest problem insurers face when they try to do mass market policies is the element of frauds which creep in. Because these are masked underwritten policies where it's pre-underwritten, etc. So therefore, it's light on underwriting, which also means that it exposes the risk for the insurers. So I think these experiments continue, innovations will continue. In fact, last 3-4 years have been a great period for life insurance industry. And Sarbvir will corroborate that because he also sells most of these products on the platform, whether it is annuity, whether it is return of premium on term, whether it is ULIP blended with term insurance. I think a lot of innovations are happening. And this will only probably hasten the innovations because affordability goes up, which means any product we put out there, we'll be able to address a larger population than what we did in the past. No? So I think it's a continuous exercise, and this is only going to energize the innovation stream. Having said that, I think all of us continue to innovate across the various platforms available in the life insurance industry.
With that, we've almost come to the end of this discussion, but one final question as far as all three of our esteemed guests are concerned. And this question relates to the larger goal of insurance for all by 2047. The question is that GST relief is certainly a first step towards achieving that aspirational goal of insurance for all by 2047. What more can be expected and should be done by the government and the regulator? If I could have one suggestion from all our guests, starting with Sharad, what is that one thing that you would want the government and the regulator to look at and do? Because there is this intent from the government, and hence we have the GST changes also coming through. There's a new chairman at the regulatory body, so can't be a better time to understand this thing. With you, Sharad, starting one suggestion.
So with GST exemption, which in itself is a big move, we need trust and transparency to be enhanced amongst all our existing customers or potential customers, those who have not bought insurance yet. And as we want to achieve insurance inclusion, it becomes all the more necessity to have all service providers, all health entities in the insurance ecosystem, in overall health ecosystem. So the point I'm trying to make is health hospitals, if can also be brought under regulations only to ensure that there is enough transparency and its standardization of rates for various procedures will going to create a lot of comfort for people, those who have not yet bought health insurance. So affordability plus enough transparency, visibility to how all health service providers ranging from hospitals or insurance companies, diagnostic centers, wellness service providers. So all under one ambit would going to make a big difference. And also to begin with, the National Health Claims Exchange, a government initiative, if we can also have hospitals there. So that itself will going to be a big initial move to support the two elements of trust and transparency.
Mahesh, to you with the same question.
I think I would probably answer this in two parts. One is what I call triple B of insurance, which is Bima Sugam, Bima Vahak, and Bima Vistar. I think we need better execution, faster execution of all three initiatives that will probably aid in the awareness, affordability, and accessibility. The second is use of data. I think across life, health, motor, non-life, etc. I think if we can all put together a very robust ecosystem of data, I think we'll be able to underwrite better quality and we'll be able to reduce the instance of fraudulent claims, which can all translate to better pricing and better insurance penetration in this country. So I would say data and triple B execution is what I would say are the critical levers going forward.
Saravir, finally, one suggestion coming in from the entity which does a great job at distribution, managing, of course, the regulations on both health and life side. What will be your suggestion?
I think, yes, we are the voice of the consumer. I think the voice of the consumer is very clear. Insurance is a very, very important part of social security in India because I think consumers need it. They want simplicity. I think there has to be simplicity in terms of what is the contract, what am I paying for, and how much will I get when I need to make a claim. So I think whatever we can do, and I think it's not just on the regulator and the government. I would say that both the regulator and the government have done their part. And I think now it's incumbent upon the industry, participants, all of us, to make sure that we communicate this message very clearly that, look, this is what the industry is doing. These are the number of claims that are being paid out. These are the instances where things have not gone well. So that, again, there is full transparency on that. And I think the more we can simplify the product at heart is a very simple product. You pay premium, you will get a claim. But we have complicated it needlessly sometimes. And if we can simplify it, I think customers will buy this themselves. I think the era of insurance being sold should change to the insurance being bought. And I hope that it will happen very soon.
Well, very well said. The era of insurance sold should come to an end and that should be replaced by insurance being bought. But on that very positive note, that's all we have as far as this special edition of the Policybazaar show is concerned. We will see you soon with a new topic, with a new set of guests. But until then, it's time to say goodbye and take good care of yourself. Stay safe, stay insured.
CNBC TV 80, the Policybazaar Insurance Show.